A few weeks ago, a politician in New York, not even in India, brought up a diamond, and half the internet lost its mind. The Kohinoor. You've heard of it. But here's what most people don't know. It's not even close to the only thing sitting in a British museum that used to belong to someone else. Today, the full list. Not the myth version, the actual paper trail. Let's start with the one everyone knows. The Kohinoor. One of the largest diamonds ever found, mined in southern India, passed hand to hand through Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh kings for centuries. In 1849, after the British defeated the Sikh Empire in Punjab, the Treaty of Lahore formally transferred the diamond to the East India Company, and from there, straight to Queen Victoria. It's sitting in the Tower of London right now, in the crown jewels, and the official British position has stayed consistent for decades. It was legally acquired under treaty, not stolen. Whether a treaty signed by a defeated 10-year-old Maharaja counts as legally acquired is, understandably, where the argument actually lives. But the Kohinoor is just the famous one. Here's who else is on the list. Tipu's tiger, a life-sized mechanical toy commissioned by Tipu Sultan, the 18th century ruler of Mysore, showing a tiger mid-attack on a British soldier. Turn the crank, and it actually growls, and the soldier's arm moves. In 1799, British forces stormed Tipu's palace at Srirangapatna, killed him, and looted his treasury. His sword, his armor, his helmet, his gem-encrusted tiger head ornaments, gone, along with the mechanical tiger, which now sits as one of the most popular exhibits at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. A dead king's private nightmare about the people who killed him, on display as entertainment for the country that did it. Then there's the Amaravati Marbles. Over 120 Buddhist sculptures and inscriptions, roughly 2,000 years old, carved for a stupa in what's now Andhra Pradesh. In the 1800s, a British civil servant excavated the site and shipped the best pieces to London. They're called the Elliot Marbles in some catalogues, named after the man who took them, not the civilization that made them. They're in the British Museum today. The government of Andhra Pradesh has formally asked for them back. Ranjit Singh's throne. Timur's ruby, a gold idol of Lord Harihara. Shah Jahan's wine cups. Thousands of Sanskrit and regional manuscripts sitting in the Bodleian Library at Oxford. The Sultanganj Buddha, an ancient bronze statue now in a museum in Birmingham. This isn't 3 or 4 unlucky items. This is a genuinely long list, long enough that when India's own Archaeological Survey looked into pursuing all of it, one director called the total inventory too long to handle. Read that again. A government agency looked at everything Britain took and concluded there was too much of it to even properly catalogue the claim.
So here's the obvious question.
Why hasn't any of it come back? And the honest answer is more complicated than Britain refuses. India's own government has actually been fairly cautious here. When British newspapers reported a few years ago that India was mounting its largest ever repatriation campaign, Indian officials publicly pushed back, calling that reporting an overstatement of how aggressively they were actually pursuing it. There's a real diplomatic calculation happening. Trade relationships, the precedent it sets for every other formerly colonized nation asking for their stuff back, the sheer legal complexity of proving ownership across centuries and multiple governments. This isn't a simple villain story where one side wants it back and the other side just says no. It's slower, messier, and far more bureaucratic than that, which is exactly why a diamond spends more time in the news than it does in negotiation. It's easier to be angry about a headline than to track a multi-decade legal process nobody's actually finishing. But zoom out from any single item, and the scale of this stops feeling like a treasure hunt story and starts feeling like something else. This wasn't a few unlucky losses. It was systematic. Kings defeated, treasuries emptied, temples and stupas excavated by the people who just conquered the land they stood on, and the best pieces shipped home as trophies, curiosities, and eventually tourist attractions. The Kohinoor gets the headlines because it glitters. The other few hundred items don't make the news because a 2,000-year-old carved stone doesn't trend the same way a crown jewel does. So here's the actual argument worth having, and it's not, give the diamond back. It's bigger than one gem. If a museum's most famous piece has a documented, undisputed record of being taken by force from a country that never agreed to give it up, does fame make that different from any other stolen object? Or is a museum case just a very well-lit place to keep something that still doesn't belong there? Britain's museums aren't hiding any of this, by the way. Walk into the V&A and you'll find Tipu's tiger's own placard describing exactly how it got there. The history isn't secret, it's just sitting in glass, 3 feet from where it was taken, with a small paragraph doing all the talking a formal apology never has. Whatever you land on, return it, keep it, negotiate case by case, that's genuinely yours to decide. But now you know it's not one diamond, it's a list, and apparently even India's own government says it's too long to finish. If you want more of the things this country built, lost, or is still arguing about, stick around. There's more where this came from.